Okay, so here we are at the Temple Square. We're gonna go over and take a look at the temple. But this is, I think, an administrative building. I'm gonna try to find out what building this is. But we have a bunch of young people come out, and they're headed over that way. So that's the way we're gonna go too, and see what we can see. Come on, Ruby, let's go. Of course, everything is immaculate here in the city. It's just picturesque, and Ruby loves it, which is very odd. But you know, she's a Romney fan, so here we go. It's a church building for sure. I can read it on the side, but it is Temple Square. And here's the layout. But behind us, over to the right, is beyond this building here is the state building, and then across the street is the temple itself. And this is the first time I've actually walked around down here. I've driven past couple of times, but I'm going to go over inside the complex and get some video there. Okay, here we are, entering the temple grounds. It's a beautiful, beautiful morning. August 31st, 2019. And here's the visitors center. I suppose I could go in there and get all kinds of documentation. I don't know. It's a Saturday morning. I'm sure they're open. There's lots of folks entering the grounds, but we're probably not going to do that. We're probably just going to take a look at the beauty of this space and the solitude of this place. My goodness. This is looking back toward the entrance gate where we just came in. If we haven't gotten very far, we've just been marveling at the beauty here. So I guess we have a performing arts building here. Very modernistic look. This is on the other side of the performing building. But I'm sure these trees were planted a couple hundred years ago. They look to be elm trees, but there's just no way they could be elm trees. I guess they could be. Being out here in the desert, kind of isolated from the rest of the world, it could be that they're survivors. But just blown away by how beautiful this place. Never actually walked the grounds before. I'm sure glad I picked such a beautiful day to do it. And over there's the temple. Try to get some photos later of as close as we can get. Here's the monument of the seagulls to commemorate their survival in the earliest days after they arrived here. Beautiful work on this. But the seagulls flew in, and it was a sign from God that they were worthy and that they were blessed, that they had made the journey and were going to survive. Quite an ornate assembly hall. Looks like it was probably the original church built here, repurposed as a assembly hall. But for some reason the fountain is dry. There may be some kind of special service this morning. Okay, here is the Pioneer Monument, of which my grandfather's grandfather was one. He was, if I remember right, he was one of the hardy Mormon pioneers who, I'll have to fill in the story later. But there is a story about a rescue that he was involved in, and it involved hand carts and things of that nature. But I'll have to make that story an attachment to the video. But quite a solemn and significant remembrance dedicated to the pioneers who really put a lot of sweat and blood in this place. Okay, we're in the South Visitors Center, looking out across the temple, and here inside is a scale model of the temple. We just talked to some guides, and they told us that it took 20 years to build because they had to haul the stone in, and they started work on the temple and had to build a railroad because all the stone comes from the mountains, which are a long ways away. So the lower floors were constructed early, but took a long time. And then the upper floors, the finishing touches, were completed quite quickly because of the infrastructure that finally was put in place. But they started work right away on this temple, 1850, I think she said, to 1880 something. So that's 30 years, right? Okay, so here's the other side. This shows the layout. And as far as I could tell by talking to the representative, I still can't get inside. But the rules are changing, but not to the point where a non-member can get inside. Okay, so they got a little exhibit set up that shows the construction of the temple. Even got a photo. I don't know if the glare is where you can see that, but I'm sure I can find this online. But showing the artifacts. Really cool. Some, I'm sure, original steel. Oxen yokes, and see these big, huge pieces of granite. And before they had the rails up, of course, they used regular wagons to haul these big pieces of uncut granite. What, quite an exhibit. And of course, the designing of the temple by this guy. I was telling my wife that a lot of influential, educated people in the Mormon church, and when they came out here, they were a very balanced society. It was a lot of appeal at a lot of different levels. So they had the people with the wisdom and education and everything to tackle these big projects. And keep in mind that they had done the same thing in Iowa and New York and Missouri, building fabulous buildings. And poured tremendous wealth and blood, sweat, and tears into building a home for themselves. Again, where they could be alone and practice religion the way they wanted to practice. We need to stop by the other visitor center. I'm sure they've got a different set of exhibits. And it looks like here's some furniture. Things that it's the temple furnishings. Of course, you'd expect them to be opulent, and they were. And again, they had the craftsmen and the expertise and the money to do this. And of course, the other half of the visitor center is about Jesus and the advanced descriptions of some of their sacraments. But there's the dedication. Well worth the visit. Very famous painting. And here's the site, what it looked like, I guess. Kind of a high spot in the middle of the valley. Great stuff. It's quite a detailed model. If you watch the video associated with this, it's patterned somewhat after the Jewish temples and everything. So I don't know the history on that, but I'm gonna look it up online. Does that look like that's focusing? I'm not sure whether that's focusing. All different kinds of trees here. This is a gum tree, I believe, and here's another statue. The authority being transferred back. And here's the story on that one. With the angel Moroni, I believe. And the other priesthood's called the Melchizedek. And it's just two orders. different different authority. But this is the leadership, and then that's kind of like the service. So the lower orders of the priesthood are the deacons and teachers and priests, and the upper orders, of course, are the elders and 70s and the higher ranking. And again, it's right here at the very base of the very beautiful fountain system that isn't working or isn't in operation. It's very clean. It's just been shut down. And see, we got a sign saying recirculated water, so people won't. Could be repairs too, so people won't be concerned that they're wasting virgin water. But here's the statue to honor Joseph Smith. And Brother Hiram. So much of our family is based on. This is the south visitors area at the base of the temple. I think this is a quail or some other kind of game bird. That's a quail, Ruby. What are you doing here? Aren't you afraid of people? Hmm? Here we are, directly under the angel Gabriel, calling forth his people unto the Lord. Well, this is it. This is it for our temple tour. I just hope everybody has a chance to see it for themselves. Beauty of this place. So again, the links back to the Judaism is very clear to see in the North Visitors Center. As you can see, there's a story being told in the background. And the story of Jesus in Jerusalem is all laid out and with a 3D map. And of course, there's the Temple Mount as it was in the glory years of Israel, before it was all destroyed by the Romans in 71 AD. But I'm sure a lot of the design aspects in these holy buildings are replicated here in Salt Lake City. This is my plan of the New Testament, which is sure for the remission of sins. So this just tells a story. Gethsemane, Herod, all the stories. Yeah, I already showed all that. So we got some beautiful paintings, huge paintings. And it looks like this center is dedicated to there's John the Baptist and Jesus right there. These are 10 feet tall, these paintings. Fishers of men. Sermon on the Mount, I'm sure. Good Friday, or whatever, the arrival in Jerusalem before the Gethsemane, the crucifixion, and of course the resurrection. It's all depicted here in beautiful, realistic painting. Gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff. Okay, so here we have a spiral ramp. It's taking us up into heaven. Boy, this is dramatic. This is beautiful. I can hear the angels singing. So I assume we're going to get to St. Peter here in a second. Wow. A place for contemplation. And for those who don't think the Mormons are Christians, it is definitely Christianity. It's just a different spin. It's not so different than the way I was raised, but for non-Latter-day Saints, let's say it is a bit of a departure from normality. Beautiful place. Okay, we finished our tour. We're leaving by the same gate we came in, but I just want to get one more shot of the sun gleaming off that statue. Really, really impressive.